Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Yourself?
Oh my gosh, you're gonna done it again. You're gonna done it now. Every time someone asks me how I am, I always tell them I can't give a simple answer because I'm always super excited when I have an amazing guest on the show like yourself. So I'm super excited and glad you can make this show this evening. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to have a conversation with you. I always like having conversations around business. It's very exciting to me. So yeah.
Fantastic. And again, thank you for taking time. I know you always get busy as well. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. But before we even go further, I'm sure my listeners are wondering, who's this soft-spoken gentleman who speaks so well and what, kind of picks his words while he speaks? Can you tell him, who do we have on the show this evening?
So I'm Myke. I'm known for sharing my own keys to success on my e-commerce stores. Includes a range of stuff from drop shipping to, online stores to physical products, and that's pretty much what I do. But also I have a passion in helping people get their own businesses off the ground without really investing a lot of money with this opportunity we have with the online portals now. So pretty much build businesses basically from scratch and just try to work smart rather than working hard. So I hope that gives you a brief overview.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite amazing, to say that. I mean, I'll give the number out again because I'm sure my listeners want to probably engage with you this evening because I think that's a very fantastic thing you do, which I want to get into it as well. I mean, today's topic, we're talking about, success and discipline. What's the relation with discipline and success? I want to know myself, because you have quite a number of businesses you run. So the number again is 074 956 36899. Make sure you have the number. You can call in live into the station and also send a text or call via WhatsApp as well. Thank you very much again. I'm already getting messages in. Thank you. Yes, people are saying they love the music. I love you for listening in as well. Thank you very much as well. We play more music before, even after the show or during the break as well. Okay, Mikey, yes, let's get right into it as well. So, anyway, you gave them a brief summary of who Myke is. Not actually, what you do, really. What you do, not who you are. But, anyone that doesn't know who Myke is, apart from, let's talk about you as an individual. What would you say, this is Myke? What would you say to that person?
Oh, my days. This is one of the most difficult things to describing your person. I would say I am one of a kind. So if you would ask 5 people what direction they would go and they would say left, for some reason I would be going right. I like to I love a challenge. So I always like to take the more difficult path to things. People think I'm crazy.
Okay.
But that's but that's just me. I really love a challenge. I love problem solving. As an individual, I am very disciplined, very grounded. I have very strong morals that I've grown up by. And those are what actually form my person. So people know I'm quite straightforward, very honest. I don't mistaken being rude for being straight. So I actually have a way of communicating with people to paint pictures, to get ideas. And I think effective communication is really key. Also, I do quite a lot around relationships. I talk to a lot of people around relationships, my experiences, and I think I'm someone that most people will call when they're about to do most things, just to say, hey, what do you think about this? Because I've gathered a wealth of knowledge over my years in dibbling and dabbling in all sorts of bits and bobs, as well as the life game itself. I've lived my life very quickly, very fast. So as a result, at my old age at the moment, I'm not going to specify, but I've walked through certain paths that certain people have not walked in, and those experiences is what I like to share and see if we can help anybody else as well.
Amazing.
Giving advice.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you mentioned that you're someone who goes the other way, and what people would never even think to do. I think you're someone that stands outside the pack, if we could describe it that way. And you also mentioned that people would come to you for advice, and because of the experiences you have. But I mean, before we actually get more into that as well, I want to know, okay, you've told us a lot about yourself, which is quite amazing, that short summary you gave. But what inspires you as an individual?
That's an interesting question. First of all, as an individual, I'm inspired by knowledge. Like, I love food for thought. I think that's probably my biggest advantage.
I mean,
I love to learn.
For a second,
I'm always open to learning.
Sorry to interrupt. For a second, I thought you were going to say food inspires me, but sorry, carry on.
No, I love to learn. I'm always open. I mean, from even you and I having conversations prior to this,
Yes,
and
yes.
I'm all open. I'm all ears. I used to be really closed-minded previously, but certain things allowed me to see that as much as you think you know so much about something, you can always learn something, from someone. So just be open-minded as opposed to, being closed on your way of thinking, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the key things I'd say that kind of drives me. But also, like I said earlier on, I love hurdles. I love problem solving. Again, it's why I said a lot of people call me. They're like, hey, we got this issue. And my brain just goes to work. Boom. Why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? And for me, like, I love when my brain's working. It's what really thrills me and excites me. But most importantly, seeing the kind of like results that come out of that, is something that's probably, again, my drive.
Amazing.
Behind everything.
Amazing.
I also love to start things from scratch. I'm somebody that's just passionate about, like, seeing nothing and trying and like turning it to something and watching that every step where you can see your work or your involvement kind of like progress.
Wow.
And obviously, like most people as well, I love the financial reward
of course,
that actually is associated with that level of effort, as well.
Yeah.
So I hope that kind of gives you a good...
It does. I mean, I think that the best, I love the way you describe that, because you talked about the financial gains at the end of that summary, at the end of the description of what inspires you, because the work has to come in first, and what most people make the mistake of thinking about financial rewards ahead of the work that needs to go in. Sometimes that would cause them to actually give up, because if the passion doesn't exist in what you want to do, the financial rewards will never come. But if your mind is focused on the financial rewards, I think sometimes it can be quite a challenge to actually get to that goal.
No, absolutely. It's something that for me, it will sound crazy to say, but I don't value money, right? I value what you put out and like solving an issue or providing a service, and then obviously feeling rewarded, as opposed to worshipping money. And you won't believe this, right? There are one or two businesses I run that don't actually yield a profit, but they make people happy, right? So for me, it's not really all about making money. It's a combination of making people happy, doing some good back for the community, but at the same time as well as making sure, of course, you do need to keep afloat. So you need to make sure that you have sources of revenue that are actually quite strong and quite diverse. But I'm sure that's something that we'll talk about.
Of course. I'm actually looking forward to more. But before we actually get into more of your, entrepreneurial stance, or you're running multiple businesses. I want to, before you actually got into thinking, I want to start a business. Did you have any like a, were you full-time employment? Were you in a paid employment, for instance, or a contract role? I mean, what was it like? Did you have it? What was the earlier part of your career like?
Okay, I hope you're sitting down.
Yes, I'm sure listeners hope you're sitting down too. I told you to get your drink ready for this one.
You know what? Yeah, I wish I did. That was something that was on my to-do list, but I've skipped past that. But
wow.
I'll definitely try and grab something in between. But okay, cool. So just talking about my kind of record. So I had my first business when I was 16, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna speed past that little bit. And I had about 3-4 businesses. They were located in Nigeria. It's doing very well. The financial crisis came in 2009. I lost quite a lot of money. I pretty much lost almost everything, right? And I had to pretty much start from scratch again. So I came back to the UK after my holiday, and I literally didn't have any money to pay my rent. Bearing in mind, when I was 16, I made my first millions, right? So that was a complete contrast, right?
£1,000,000 or million naira? To put in context.
Naira. Well, not million naira, but millions of naira.
Okay,
right?
millions.
First,
Okay.
Because I had 3 businesses in Nigeria.
Okay.
I had a cafe bar, I had a beauty salon, and I had a construction company.
Amazing.
Right? Where I was doing renovation works in Abuja. And all sorts of things. These were all learning curves. I'd never done them before, but, I just threw myself in it and I just figured it out. So that was all working quite well. And I mean, Nigeria is a place you can do that because it's not really about that much track record. It's more about what you're able to kind of deliver. And I think people give you the benefit of the doubt. So that was that. So with that financial crisis, I lost a lot, right? I came back to a very expensive car, 5-liter car I was driving then. I couldn't actually put petrol in it. I couldn't, do the insurance for it. I struggled. My house as well. I had to move out from my house that I had, my 3-bedroom. I had to move out to I'd say like a shared bedroom with friends that I knew from uni. Because I was still in uni at this point.
Right.
Right. So that was a catastrophic part in my life. I was really devastated. I was quite depressed, to be honest. And I thought, you know what am I going to do? I'd never worked for anyone before. And my girlfriend at the time, she used to work in retail.
Yeah.
And you won't believe it. She said, look, just do up your CV, just go out to these retail shops, you'll get a job. So this is me coming from being a boss, having so much money, to now trying to get a job in retail, right? I handed my CV to everywhere, and you won't believe it, but I just kept getting rejections and rejections and rejections. You have no idea what rejections on a CV can do to somebody's ego.
I know.
Literally.
I know.
It can make you feel like nothing.
Yes.
And it was really, really trying time. And at one point, I had to talk to my girlfriend. Then I said, "Hey, look, is there any way you can help me? Because you've obviously got a job, right? Can you help me just tailor my CV to what you think is right?" Anyway, she tailored it, and at some point, I signed up to a couple of agencies. One of them called me. They said, "Come and work for House of Fraser." I went over to House of Fraser, and you wouldn't believe it, right? Now, from being the person that used to go into doing the shopping, I'm supposed to wear black and black and stand literally in one position and watch people shop. Literally. It was difficult, and this was only a temporary job. And you won't believe it, but after the first day, they go, "Yeah, we don't think we need you anymore."
The first day?
I mean? The first day. It was an agency job, so you normally roll over, right? And so they'll call you for today if you need. So they didn't need me anymore. That really broke my heart, right? So 2 weeks I had no job. Then another time I got a call for a job, and they called me in and they said, "Come over at Selfridges." And I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. Again, I'm going in the back end now of places I used to go in and shop. I started working there. I was again temping for 1 week at the Oxfam, had a pop-up charity store there.
Okay.
I did so well. And Selfridges approached me and said, "Hey, we actually want to hire you as a permanent staff." So that 1 week went into like a permanent employment.
Amazing.
Then I started, this is very different because now they're giving me a job where I'm getting £1,200 a month, right?
Yeah.
With tax, that was very difficult because I had, bills to pay at this point. I was finding it quite difficult. I stayed there for a year. I was literally running the customer services department. I was running the tax-free. I was running the exports for Selfridges, right? It was interesting. It was fun. But the issue I had was I'm limited to this 1,200 every month, right? So for me, I'm like, I'm running up and down. I do personal shopping. Celebrities come in. They call me. I go over there. I help them export all their stuff. And I just felt like it's a lot of work, and I don't feel like I'm getting rewarded for the additional effort that I'm putting in.
Yeah.
So I quit, and I decided what's going to give me money based on commission.
Wow.
And I said, okay, I'm going to be an estate agent. So I walked into the first, I just decided I'm going to go out and give my CV to estate agencies. I gave a couple, didn't get as much responses. One called me, said, "Come in." Company called, I think, Greenfield. These times I was living on Kingston Hill.
Yeah.
And I went into them, spoke to them, and they said, great CV. We love you. We love everything you do. Went through a series of questions. Maybe about 45 minutes. We got to the, okay. So how are you with teams? How are you? Are you a good team player? And I said, yeah, absolutely. I help a lot of guys in my team. I put in a lot of effort to people around me. That's the kind of person I am.
Of course. Yeah.
And they were like, okay. And they were like, well, look, unfortunately, that's not going to work for us.
What?
We don't want team players.
Blimey.
They said we want it to be a really competitive environment. So, just unfortunately, we just don't think that based on that particular bit, you won't fit in. And you won't believe it. I'd never heard.
Honestly, I'm astonished. That could ever be asked to say, you're not a team player, you can't be part of that. Amazing. Okay, so
I didn't believe it.
I know.
I didn't believe it.
So let's fast forward to when it all started. When you had the bug of saying, you know what, this is what I want to do. I want to abandon, get it into full-time work. I've tried. It's not a lot of people would, leave Selfridges, because some people it's like a dream job for them. It's like a dream thing to be associated with a retail store. At Selfridges, people would say, "Oh, I work in Selfridges, But you saw a better opportunity for yourself. You wanted to challenge yourself more. But so when did it all start? You think, you know what, Mikey, you're talking to yourself now, Mikey. You got to do better. When did it all start?
You mean changing? So basically. I went through that. I got a phone call just after that, and the phone call was basically another company that said this company had passed your details. They don't love team players, but we love team players, so come and work for us, basically. So that was literally, I went there, I got the job straight away, so I became an estate agent. I was working in Feltham. I was bringing in about £4,000 a month. I was earning good commission, and I hadn't finished my university, my business and marketing. So I got approval from University of Lincoln. And it was the biggest decision I had to make was to leave uni to then go back and do that, which I did.
Yeah.
So fast forwarding, while I was at uni, I started up my branding company, which was just to help me help people. While I was studying business, I wanted to be implementing some of it, right? So I was helping people. Branding You is a one-stop consultancy store. So all it does is just help people start up their businesses at all different stages. If it's company registration, if it's finding a location, if it's marketing, if it's product development, whatever it was. So it's pretty much from concept to implementation. So that's why I was running, and this started in 2012, right? So fast forward, I came out of uni. I thought, okay, the usual. I've lost a lot of confidence in myself. So I got a phone call saying, hey, have you got a inferiority complex? Do you feel like you can talk to senior level executives and things like that? And I thought, I'm not intimidated by anyone. I can speak to anybody.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, come on in. And I went in, and there was a company that does something that's called sponsorship. I don't know if a lot of people know what sponsorship is.
No,
right?
I'm even aware of that. Yeah.
Okay. What it is basically you put together a small closed door event, right? Maybe about 100 people.
Yeah.
These 100 people are all CIOs, so Chief Information Officers,
of course,
heads of e-commerce, heads of online, specific job roles and job functions then have specific events, right?
Yeah.
These guys hold budgets, and they come from the top, Fortune 100 companies. Giving you an example, Google are my clients, Adobe are my clients, Dropbox are my clients, right? So what we'll do for these guys is the head of, their sales guys will come over, and they'll try and meet somebody from, let's just say Harrods, for instance, who's in charge of all the IT there.
Yeah.
And we already know that this guy has got $2 million budget to spend on maybe rehauling all the IT infrastructure in the store.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the idea, that they then have a solution for that. So we're pairing a solution provider.
Amazing.
With a senior executive, but strategically the decision maker. So I went straight in. My role initially started off calling the actual delegates who will come and offering them a free place to actually come over and qualifying them. Are you the budget holder? You hold a budget of over 3 million. Are you investing in technology in XYZ over the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So a couple of filter questions. And if they qualify, then they come in. Then we have one day where we put together an event. So it's like a small conference, and we call it a forum. And on that day, each executive will meet maybe 4 people who provide different solutions for the things that they're looking to do.
Amazing.
So it's kind of like helping them find good solution providers that they may never have known.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the big Google.
Being a bridge, isn't it? Creating that opportunity
Absolutely.
for both parties.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely, for both parties, exactly. But these guys now, on the other hand, have to pay quite a lot, the solution providers, because you could get business starting from about 1 million. Do you know what I mean? So that was it. So I started on there. Every time I was selling the delegate positions, who were just the attendees, there was a guy that was on a seat behind me, and he was the director of the sales team.
Right.
Every time I pitched, he said, "Listen, I want you on my team. I want you on my team." And over a period of time, he convinced the MD to take me over to sales and start actually selling the sponsorship packages. That started from about £6,000 all the way up to, 70, £80,000.
Amazing.
And that's how I kind of started and got into what I ended up doing as like a profession, which was sponsorship sales. Now, 2 weeks after this guy brought me on and I started this, you won't believe it, but he left the company. So I was left in the deep end there. Either sinking or swimming. I was there for quite a while, and he called me saying, "Look, I'm at this new company. I'd love you to come in and join me." That's pretty much what happened. I decided, okay, I'll take a second chance with him.
Yeah.
Went in there, and I was there for pretty much till I started doing my own thing. I had sales of $1 million. I started bringing in $1 million a year in sales revenue. From the events that I was doing. So I went from obviously all of that to selling events that start from 20,000, and these guys paying 20,000 are only going to meet 5 people.
Yeah.
So it became a lot more difficult, but that's my core competence is pretty much selling nothing physically for a lot of money, basically. If that makes any sense.
It does. I mean, I must say, like, earlier on the show, when you came on, you mentioned that you like to go the other way and go against the grain, so to say, where people would rather run away from. And I must say the description of how you've actually got to be an entrepreneur has, shown that. Because if we look at when you started off, from when you started off as, trying to get a job, and you did your CV, nothing happened, but you still carried on, you carried on, then eventually got a role. I mean, people who got discouraged from that first time at House of Fraser, they were like, you know what, oh my gosh, it's not for me. But you still kept on. You got into a very good retail department, Selfridges, and you quit the job. As I mentioned, people would never quit that. They want to stay there. But you saw another vision. You saw another side, say, you know what, I want more. And you went ahead. And as to the agency, it's not, you say it like it's a very simple job. It's not at all. It's quite hard to break into the market. A lot of people possibly would think, and here you are today, and you're not doing your own thing. So what was the first, business you actually started?
So like I mentioned, it was branding year in 2012. That was registered in 2012. It was when I was in uni. The idea of that was I was studying business and marketing, and I wanted to have the ability to practice and not just learn. And again, I was a little bit more mature. I think I was about 22 when I went into that. So I went in more like a more mature student. And when I went in, I didn't want to get distracted. So I just wanted to focus. I just wanted to be building my life from there. So I started up the branding company, and I started consulting and helping people, while I was learning, from my experience as well previously, to then be able to get their own dreams, obviously for them paying for a consultancy, for me to almost be like somebody to hold their hands through that process, if that makes any sense.
It does. Now, okay.
And
sorry, carry on. I'm super excited what I'm hearing from you this evening, but carry on, please.
I was just going to say, and when I first started, right, it was all around the physical, the bricks and mortar, right? So it was people that wanted to start, for instance, a cafe, right? So they need a physical space.
Oh, wow.
Somebody who wants to start a beauty parlor. So they need, they want to do massages, they want to do face treatments and all of that. So they need a physical space. So they need quite a bit of capital. So they get the space, then they need to do up the space. They need quite a bit of capital. And they need to run it for about 3 months before people actually get to know it. And they need to kind of put out some adverts, promote it online, and do a couple of things to get people in. And what really was happening is a lot of the time it was really expensive to start up, but most of the time I was helping the same people, you know what I mean, do different businesses over and over again.
Amazing.
Right? So they will come over here and they'll start up a business, and before they know it, they've run bust on that business. And then obviously, you know, because of the overheads and the fact they didn't have enough people coming in the first few months to sustain that, then they come back again and say, okay, they want to try something else, you know. So I was helping a few of the same people build businesses that were actually failing because of the lack of the funds that they had.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, it is amazing that you actually took on big. I mean, those projects are huge. I mean, those are not, you know, little projects. You know, bricks and mortar projects. Kind of like rebranding a business as well, and also the decor that's necessary in that as well. I think, you know, that can be quite challenging, but this is Mikey we're talking about. Mikey likes to go the other way into the deep end and make sure it happens. Now, you started out your branding project, your branding business as well. That's going well. You have your clients you're working with. It's going okay. So when you did now decide, you know what, I've mastered this act, you know, this art of branding. You know, I want to bring on another business, because I want to ask you all the businesses you have, but I want to know, when did you now realize, you know what, I have more, energy to take on more business or to create another business?
Okay. So I've always kind of known that, right? It's just all around timing from so much. I even till today, like, I have blueprints of businesses that I've created about 10 years ago, right? It's just sitting there for when I feel like the time's right, or where I can afford the time to then do that, where I feel like maybe there's a need. I've always had all of these. It's just a question of when, which one now. Even this year, I have two things that I've got up my sleeves that I'm going to be, you know, bringing out before the end of the year. But when did I start? When did I realize that? I think it was when I realized what was happening with businesses, people struggling to start up businesses, and me realizing that I didn't want to invest so much into a business to try it. So I started from learning, from seeing people invest a lot. I thought, there needs to be another option from all this bricks and mortar stuff, right? And for me, I don't just talk the talk. The reason why I referred to on a lot of things is because I've walked through it without asking people, but doing it and learning for myself. So it's not he say, she say. It's me walking through it, figuring it out, coming out at the other end. Like I said, I'm a problem solver, so I like to solve things. I love hurdles. And so once I realized that, I thought, what's a way out? So I started looking on, like, online businesses, how to start things online. And just looking at how we could get the minimal cost of starting things online. And I came across all of this whole, you know, Shopify. Before then, my clients were paying, $5,000, $4,500, $6,000 for websites where they weren't even that practical. They couldn't even move things around themselves. They couldn't add products. So it was difficult. Then I came around all these online portals, right? And I realized that, hey, look, there's Shopify, there's Wix, there's Squarespace, there's a lot of different options that you can pay £20, £30 a month, and you can have a store and you can look like a company depending on what you create, because I'm all about branding. So I know how to give it a look where it will look the part, irrespective of the fact that, you know, I might be just shipping all of this out of my front room, basically, you know. And that's what it was. So I decided, let me go ahead. And for me, like I said, before I recommend anything, I try it out. So I said, okay, let me go ahead. Let me start my first one. Let me trial it. And obviously I did all of this alongside all what I was doing. Amazing. So I didn't just, you know, put the 9 to 5 to one side. I started working on websites, learning all these platforms, how to build on Shopify, how to build on Wix, how to build on Squarespaces. I also build my branding new website is built on WordPress, which is with code. So I've always known how to do all of these things. So I just started trying to perfect it. Then building is one thing, and I started trying to learn how to develop the store where the user experience is right, where people can come on and they can very quickly see all you offer, scroll down one page and have the option to almost click on all the different sectors or segments or categories. Amazing. You know, and be able to have a good overview, but flow through the website very easily, and then also be able to navigate all the way to paying.
Amazing.
right?
Amazing.
So that's building the website.
It is making
you
it
know,
more user friendly, isn't it? It's very important as well. But I want to go back to, you started this at 16 years old. 16. A lot of people then at 16 are looking at football, are possibly looking at girls, are possibly looking at what's the latest movie, what is the latest cartoon, or what is the latest T-shirt or fashion out there. But no, Mikey is thinking about money. How and why? Where did that influence come from? Because we're talking about discipline and success. What discipline does a 16-year-old have at that point? You think, what? Because you need discipline. Even right, because you mentioned about doing business in Nigeria or anywhere else. Sometimes it's about your track record. Sometimes it's about what you can deliver. Yes, that's important as well. But the discipline on ensuring you deliver what is required is quite important as well. So, I mean, how does a 16-year-old keep discipline to ensure that projects that they embark on, it's done? I mean, from your perspective.
Okay, so just one word before I give a broader explanation. I'm a perfectionist. And I've always been, and as a result of that, I always look at I've got a big eye for detail. I look at every single bit. And as a result of that, I struggle to do anything that's substandard because I see it. And as a perfectionist with OCD, once you see something that's wrong, you kind of need to fix it. But it all started from the experience of growing up in a household where she's serial entrepreneur from the days of Babangida in Nigeria, right? While she was pregnant with me, she was working on a drip irrigation project with Ibrahim Babangida, and so that just it goes all the way back. But out of my family, I'm the only one. I used to go to meetings all the time. I was quite passionate about business. My mom will also send me as well to go and meet senior executives within the government, to have meetings with them on my own. And I don't know, I just developed a passion for it, and I learned very quickly from her. So when I was 16, I don't know if you say the discipline for it. I don't know. I feel like it's my moral stance. I'm quite disciplined. I don't know where it came from, but I control my mind, and I think that it's about mindset and ensuring that you have your mind over your body as opposed to your body over your mind. I don't believe that there's an age for that. Because funny enough, I had this conversation earlier on today. I don't believe there's an age for that. I believe that, based on how you grow up, you have a mindset, and that mindset can be a to-do attitude. And I explained that in my house, growing up with my mom, the word "I can't" could not come out of my mouth. Right? Oh. It was not an option.
Amazing.
Whatever it was, you were trying it, at least, right? And if you failed at it, then you can, learn from what it was. But it was never that I can't. My mom saying that you can do anything you put your mind to. So that's the kind of mentality I grew up on. And as a result of that, I formed a kind of resilience when it comes to stopping me or something that seems it gets me excited. It's like, okay, it says I can't. All right, let's go in for this. And
let's get in there. Do it the Mikey way.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and at the same time, there is also the element of knowing when to quit, right, on certain things. But I feel like starting something with a "I can do anything" attitude just gives you the kind of boost that you need. Amazing. And the morale you need.
Amazing.
To at least put in the most amount of effort, if that makes any sense.
It does. Okay, I mean, on that note, we're going to take a short break, and we're going to ask Mikey this question. Listeners as well, I want you to ponder on this as well. Why discipline is important for success. But Mikey, do stay with us. Listeners, we shall be back on the other side to talk more with the amazing Mikey on the show this evening. Stay locked on, stay locked in. It's your host, Double9, on Double9Radio. Welcome back. It's Double9Radio. It's 1859 at 0904 2021. We have the amazing Mikey, the serial entrepreneur, the CEO, the one that started working from 16 and breaking bounds. He's the one that does it the Mikey way. Welcome back, Mikey.
Thanks. So I'm excited. I'm actually enjoying this. I'm enjoying this conversation we're having.
I am loving the pleasure of having the one and only Mikey on the show and giving us a lot of insight into how to run successful businesses at the same time. I mean, we asked the question, why is discipline important for success? I think there's a question a lot of people, it evades a lot of people. People don't understand that, yes, discipline is actually necessary for success. And what I mean by that is, an individual starts a business, for instance, I'll make it very simple. So you start a business buying and selling stuff, for instance, and the profit you make, rather than putting it back into the business, you actually use it for something else and just use the same money. Do you know what I mean? You don't reinvest the process or the proceeds, back into the business. You kind of like, because I don't know, for any other reason. I mean, I've had people do that, and the business never survives. But Myke, why is discipline very important for success?
Good question. I think if we're going to look for a very blanket answer on that one, I think it just helps. It gives you some form of a tunnel vision on your goals, right? It helps you focus on them. It helps you stick to the actual work that you have to, because you see, when you work for yourself, there's no one that's going to be like your manager at work saying, have you got this done? Have you got that done? Yeah. It's up to you to get that done in order to actually succeed, or should I say achieve success, basically. That's one of the things I'll say. And I'll say most people are always, how do I say this? They're always looking forward to success, but they're not really understanding a lot of the time that it's difficult and you need to be quite rigid on yourself.
Yeah.
To actually be successful. Like, I find a lot of the time I'm working till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. I work with China, for instance, right? A lot of the time. I can't afford to be sleeping when their day starts, because I want them to ship out whatever by 9 a.m. in the morning their time, or 10 a.m. in the morning their time, so it gets picked up on that day. So it's just little things around.
That is discipline. That is discipline.
Yeah. So I'll just say that it helps achieve a greater level, because it's not that you can't be successful without discipline, but it just takes you to that next level of, for instance, your quality checks. For instance, like for me, one big thing for me is quality, right? And that's one ethos that I've gone by in everything that I do. There's always some element of exclusivity, quality in it. And as a result of that, I need to make sure that I'm not feeling like, I can't be bothered to do this, or I'll just put this in this way, or I'll package this in this way. Certain items that actually get packaged, certain items get made. So there are all sorts of errors. And my point is, there's a discipline that you need to agree on. These are the steps you're going to take. This is what you need to do. And then discipline and channel yourself to make sure that you achieve these things. Because I think that the hardest thing for me is people that want to achieve success, but they come through, they think success is easy, right?
Yes.
And what they don't realize is nobody that you see that's successful has made it easily. There are all sorts of difficult tasks that allow you to actually, that you can only overcome as obstacles if you're disciplined, strategic, and tactical. So when I look at things at first, right, and I'll give you an example, I think everybody can relate to this. You see maybe your friend, let's just say he's just doing hair, right? It looks so easy, or you're just plaiting hair, you're just doing this, or even selling hair. But when you start and decide you want to do that, you start to realize all sorts of hurdles with that thing that looks so easy on the outside. And it just changed your perception on actually realizing that, okay, this is not as easy to succeed in something. You need to put in a lot of effort, but at the same time, you need to make sure that you're channeled and progressing, because in anything in life, if you don't discipline yourself, it's very easy for you to step out of line, basically.
Yeah,
it's very easy for you to
fall off,
to get confused. It's very easy for you to get distorted.
Yeah.
I have a few, few things I would say about self-discipline. One, self-discipline actually, it helps you create some form of a, you know how to say it, a habit. You know when you do something over and over and over again,
Yes.
it almost like it becomes like a habit.
Yeah. Like second nature, isn't it? Because you train yourself.
Second nature.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. You end up getting things done. You know, a lot of the things that you wouldn't normally do. The body is lazy. I have days where I'm in bed and I really don't want to get up, and I have the option of not getting up. But do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I do.
But
I do.
Those are the days. Those are the days that if you don't, some important phone calls come in and you just think that, wow, if I didn't come up today, I would have missed out on this.
But the discipline you've implemented within yourself that's become second nature will push you to come out of that bed.
Yeah, and it, like I said about focus, it helps with the focus. But one thing that a lot of people I don't think realize is it actually, to some degree, boosts your work ethics. You know, you start to naturally, when you're working for yourself, it starts to boost your work ethics. It starts to boost your self-esteem because you're doing things. And this is one thing that I learned. This is why I feel like I can do almost anything. When I do something today, I'm like, wow, this seemed so difficult before I started. But 10 minutes in, I'm seeing progress. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
And that's because of that discipline of me saying, all right, today I'm going to do this. I know it might be difficult, but I'm doing it today. You know, and gradually you just start to go, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. This is the work ethic that I think I need to have if I work maybe at this time or this day or in this way, whatever. And I think it helps you just gradually, you know, achieve, I'll say be an expert, basically, master whatever it is that you're doing. When you've got strong discipline, you know, it allows you to be able to be consistent, right, with what you're doing. And as a result of that, you're able to kind of like hit the nail on the head every time, but become better. And I tell a lot of people this. It doesn't matter even if you're cleaning toilets. Clean toilets for 10 years, 20 years, and you'll be the best toilet cleaner. That's just my own ethos for it. Consistency is so key.
It is key.
And I just feel like, you know, with discipline, for me personally as a human being, discipline just makes you, I would say, just, you know, become your best person, the best version of who you really are, because you're disciplined, you're staying grounded to your morals. You know what I mean? It's not allowing you to be wayward. And I think that's one of the most important things. It is.
And you mentioned something very important there, which is consistency. You know, you have to be consistent in all you do, because that shows that you do have the passion for what you're trying to do. Because again, you also mentioned a lot of people think the success is overnight. It's never overnight, because you have to put in some work to ensure you achieve that goal. And how do you achieve that goal? To ensure you have that self-discipline and passion also to ensure that success does come. But I mean, Myke, again, you know, I asked a question, you know, why, you know, if you was going to tell someone who thinks, oh my gosh, you know, Myke, I don't know, I could never be like Myke. He's so off on a tangent sometimes. He's very hardworking. He's so self-disciplined. You know, what would you say to them and say, you know, the 5 reasons why, or 3 reasons why you think, you know, discipline is really important for success?
3 reasons, why I'll say it's really important for success.
Yes.
Okay, so I talked about mastering, right? So success comes to those who are actually masters and not beginners, right? So if somebody actually wants to be successful, they actually need to be a master of something, right? So you actually become a master, like I said, once you put in the work and you put in a lot of time on one thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why for me, mastering something has to come with discipline. Most people fail because they don't actually master anything, whereas successful people, on the other hand, you know, they actually master it. You know, so that's, from my own perspective, how I'll say discipline, you know, brings out or you know, is linked into obviously being a master of something specifically.
Exactly. Yeah, I would agree with you, because when you're a master of what you do, you're consistent and you put in the hard work. Success is inevitable. You'll always be successful. because the focus is there. But now, I mean, Mikey, how many businesses do you run at present?
I would say
you lost.
I would say probably 10 that are running at the moment. A couple in progress as well. A couple that are I got a couple actually in progress at the moment. I have a couple that are being rebranded at the moment as well, restructured based on obviously things changing. But I diversify, so I have a range of things that are not equivalently the same, if that makes any sense. They're all in different industries.
But I think to myself, 10 businesses. I mean, how do you run these businesses without compromising on customer service and actual products as well? I mean, how do you do that? Because with every business, you want to give 110%. Customer service. You want customers to come back. You want customers, to give you that good review, because that's what drives sales, really. So how do you manage?
You know what? I'll give you a very easy answer to that one. You need to make sure that you're starting gradually so you're able to cope. I don't throw myself in the deep end. I build concepts, build ideas, build products, and gradually allow them to grow. I don't force them to grow. I don't try and... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? As a result of that, you're able to start scaling gradually. I think it's really important that people understand that you scale gradually. You understand how your customers are. You understand what can go wrong, right? And I mean, there's certain courses that you can do around customer services. Like I said, I used to run the customer services department in Selfridges. I know how to talk to people. I know how to relate to customers who are upset. Like, it's not an issue for me. But I think when you're saying compromising on quality, I think it's all about devising a system, right, and a structure. All my businesses follow a system and a structure. For instance, if somebody's got an issue with XYZ, there will be a template that addresses all of that, which can be tailored to the specific issue. So I think it's all about creating structure to ensure that there is consistency within the business, but also that things are worded in the best and most appropriate manner that can address a particular situation. Also, I think it's important that it's important that you give as much information as you can and address as much as you can to your customers to reduce the complaints and the communication. That's one of the things I do. So on all my kind of products and stores online, you're probably bombarded with information. The reason why is because you don't need to call me and ask me anything. It's there, what's in it, what material this is made up of, what the size is, the inches, every single thing is there. There are certain businesses I know that I have to focus on because people will be calling to ask questions because it's tailor-made, like the one-stop consultancy where I build websites for people and all of that, right?
Yeah.
I know it's not one hat fits all, and people who are interested in that will want like a consultancy 30 minutes. So I think it's all about creating structures. And like for me, I create a couple of businesses that can run themselves. That is very, 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 very crucial if you want to have multiple businesses.
Amazing.
Create businesses that can run themselves. So you have to literally, for at least 6 of my businesses, all I do is press a button when an order comes in and somebody else does all the work for it, right? Do you know what I mean?
I know. That's quite amazing. But I mean, with every business, no matter how perfect a business can be, there are some challenges. Some are unique to certain type of business. Some are just, maybe could be a general type of challenge. But I mean, with the businesses you run, how do you deal with, challenges that might occur, on the day-to-day run of the business, or maybe, once in a while? How do you deal with these challenges?
Like I said, I'm a problem solver.
A problem solver. Okay.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love hurdles. Even my partner as well with her businesses. When she's got an issue, she comes to me. I love problems. Just like my brain's just very different in the way I think. Where I think of a solution very quickly, but I'll think very differently to how most people will think. And so I'd say it's just one, being calm. Like, I'm never stressed about anything, and I think that that's one of the secrets to me being able to successfully analyze situations People come to me panicking, and I'm just like, relax, and we
Just
talk
chill.
about it within a few minutes,
Let's do it the
and we
Mikey
come
way.
up with a solution.
Yes.
Yeah, because you know what it is, right? When you're stressed, you don't think properly. A lot of people don't realize that. But when you're anxious, you may make the wrong decision.
True.
So I think it's really easy to, when you have an issue, have a look at it, take an overview, step back. But also with my kind of like religion, I just believe in God. God's helped me through my journey.
Amen. Amen.
And that's one of the things that I feel like. So based on my faith, I know that when I do have hurdles with my prayers, like my hurdles will kind of be solved. So it's just for me to look out for the cues to solve them. If that makes any sense.
Now I know the secret of your success now. So the secret is the Almighty God. Amazing.
Oh, 110%. 110%.
Amazing. So what's the vision like for Mikey in the next 3 years? Is it you're taking over the world, or what's that vision? What's that vision for Mikey? Say,
So you know what? Since I started probably about 4 years now, since I started all my entrepreneurial activities, I mean like running it solely, I decided I was going to create 2 businesses every year. So every year I kind of like create 2 new businesses, and I don't just pull things out of the bag. I'll give you an example, right? The pandemic hit, everyone was chilled. I was a little bit upset because I have 2 events companies which completely grew from a lot of revenue to 0 revenue very quickly, right? And I was a little bit heartbroken, but I thought, what can I do to be positive, right? And so many people on my Snap have always asked me, what do you use for your beard? What do you use for your beard? So I decided what I use for my beard, I might as well package it, put it in a bottle, and actually, give people who've been waiting for it, because it was one of the things I was planning on doing. So basically, during that period, I just decided I was going to do something positive and just change the paradigm of all the negativity.
Amazing.
I got a couple of ideas as well that I have for this year, but I'm going to keep them close to my chest.
Keeping it close to the chest.
Yeah.
Mikey's keeping it close.
I know for a fact that there's a lot of people that are always keeping an eye on what I'm doing, and trying to reciprocate, which I don't mind. But obviously, as we know, success to business is trying to be the one that pioneers whatever you're doing.
100%. 100%.
I don't feel like people might reciprocate what I'm doing, and I don't think that they would, be able to do it 100%. But I just feel like I always want to hold things close to my chest, because the way I do things is really, really different. So until I kind of come out, but I got two really interesting concepts that are coming out, 2 really interesting stores that I'm hoping change the paradigm of the way we do things. One as Black people. I got a couple of tricks up my sleeve. So,
okay, watch out for Mikey. Watch out for Mike. He's coming.
Keep you posted on all of that.
He's keeping it to his chest. Make sure you do follow him on Instagram as well. It's mikey.co.uk as well. Okay, we've got some questions have come in. We've got a question from James in Hendon. Says, what's the best way to help reduce money stress?
Oh my days, money stress. So honestly,
that's a $1 million question.
Money, absolutely, but I'm gonna give it all. Right, when you say money stress, right, there are 2 things I'm gonna just address here. The first one is you have the psychological stress of money and the frustration that brings. The only way you can address that is by having money, realistically, right? That can't change. If you're thinking about how you're going to pay your rent and you don't know how you're going to pay that, you're going to be stressed. And when you're stressed, you're not going to be productive. That's the reality of it. Now, how do you kind of come out of that circle or come out of that hurdle of 9 to 5? For me personally, I'll say drop shipping is a secret for you. With drop shipping, you start up a store, you pay maybe $29, $30. You build an e-commerce store. You have to know what you're doing for it to look the part, for it to flow. You then select products, you market the products, when people, so there's a little trick to it if you use Shopify, for instance, right? Instead of having all the payment options open, you only have PayPal as an option for people to pay. The reason why is when they pay, you get the money straight away. So you don't need to cough up capital. So once they then buy something, then you go and order it from the supplier, and you send it directly to their address, telling the supplier not to put any of their contact details, basically, or anything like that in there. That's how dropshipping works. Now, it's not what you have to do forever, but it's a way of making money without investing a lot. Amazing. And you can get some nice, healthy profit margins on that to then go into put into something else. You know, so I know a few people might not like the idea of that. People might be scared. It's very easy. It's really not scary. There's so many tools that help you with that. But most importantly, I'll say, people think about the fulfillment. It is as easy as this. You market something on your website, somebody buys it, you get paid, you go to the person's website, the supplier's website, you buy it like normal, just put in the person's address and putting a note in there, just telling them, please don't put anything because I am drop shipping. Every supplier knows what drop shipping is.
Amazing.
It's as simple as that. You know, so I know a lot of people are skeptical, but you're never going to know until you go ahead and do it.
Exactly.
One key thing I was going to say was, dive into stuff, because a lot of the time I had hurdles. So my YouTube channel that I just started, which is My Key to Success, I started that only after I met my partner because she was doing YouTube, right? Before then, I procrastinated doing it for a couple of years, right? And the moment I just started it, I just realized that why was I procrastinating, right? It was the same with all of this stuff. It was after a while where I felt like I was doing everything for the company I was working for, and I was bringing in close to $1 million for them, but I'm only taking like about $100,000 away every year.
Yeah.
To me, it's like I'm doing all the work, so why don't I just do it for myself?
Exactly.
And you need that confidence boost to be able to do that. But a lot of the time, I speak to so many people, and they're saying, "Oh, we don't know how to build the website. Oh, we don't know what products to select. Oh, we don't." The truth is, you just need to start it. You will figure it all out. Everybody does. So the tip I'm going to say to you today is, if you're sitting on an idea that you've had and you're waiting for X, you're waiting for Y, you're waiting for Z, don't do it. If you're sitting at the moment and you want to start a business in, for instance, selling, for instance, printing clothes, whatever, that's one of the easiest ones. There's a company called Printful, right? They're the drop shipping supplier. You can do a couple of designs with them and advertise it on your website, and people buy the shirts and they will drop ship it for you. And they're the most successful, they're the best drop shipping print press available. That's something easy to start off with where you don't need to think too much, you know. But I feel like just
amazing.
Leave the thinking. The reality is the only way you're going to learn stuff is by walking the walk. So irrespective of all the thinking and planning you do, you only start learning about a business when you start a business.
You're spot on there. I mean, that's great advice you're giving this evening as well. You know, if you have that idea, you know, don't sit on it. Do it. Stop procrastinating. You're just never going to do it. You know, just take that step. And he's giving us a fantastic way to actually start a business without any capital. Drop shipping. You know, it sounds scary. You're skeptical. Find out. Get some information about it. And I'm sure, you know, you'll see that it's not that hard. He's also given us, and you know, a company that actually helps if you're doing t-shirt design as well. Printful. I'm giving you that free on here. Free advertising for you guys on here. As well.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
absolutely. I was just going to also say, in regards to like reaching out, one thing I just want to just make sure people understand is, I'm not really in the business to get people to pay for stuff. So I'm not trying to help people start their businesses because I offer a service. I do offer a service as well for certain people who don't know anything about technology and just can't be bothered. You know, I actually have a whole solution where they can start up a website, everything connected with marketing and all of that. But the main thing that I do is I mentor quite a lot of people. I just am passionate about seeing people change their life around from, you know, not having X and then going all the way up to, you know, to having this based on my own expertise and my knowledge as well. So people can check out my YouTube. It talks about some of the things. Drop shipping is explained there in, I think, a couple of minutes. So if you don't understand drop shipping.
Give it a name. Give the name and of the YouTube.
It's Myke, Mykey, the number 2, and then success. And you guys, and I'm happy for people to drop me a message if they want to, and ask any questions. I am the whole idea of me doing all of this, because I'm a very behind the scenes person, is because I feel like to be able to reach people and help people, you need to be approachable.
Of course,
so
of course.
I'm very much approachable.
And also, it's on Instagram as well. It's mykey.co.uk. If you need to find that, just go on today's flyer on Double9Radio Instagram page and click on today's flyer, and you would find his handle in the description. Okay, we have another question from Janet in Dartford. Janet says, what are 3 quick tips on how to save each month? This is very important. I mean, this people, where are you getting all these questions? But I think they're great questions as well.
Okay, 3 quick tips on how to save each month. Is that what the question was?
Yes.
I think cutting down, first of all, I think you need to very quickly decide how much you want to save every month. But I think one thing you need to ensure, first of all, before you start, is that it's realistic. So consider how much you're actually receiving and how much your bills are and what you can actually save from that. Now, a quick idea on ways to kind of save is to, for instance, have accounts where you can't take money out of and you can only put money in. Or if you have somebody that's trusted within your family that you can give. Or one thing that I do, and this certain people might not agree with this, certain people might, I do cash. I take out cash and I hide them around in different places, in pockets, in bags, because you know what it is? I forget about it. I know it's there if I ever need it, but I kind of forget about the fact that it's there. And we all use our bank accounts these days. It's very rare that we, go and look for cash. So I find sometimes money sat in my bank account is a lot more difficult than money actually sat hidden around. I know for sure that I have money around that's been hidden for close to a year, over a year. So for me, that's one thing that works. And I think we're all different. In addition, I think we really need to start curbing habits. So if you go out, you go partying, those are all fine, but set clear lines on budgets. And that's why I say, look at how much you have, decide how much you can afford to spend, take that money away, and everything else, limit it. So if you go out clubbing maybe 4 times and you only have £100 to spend, right? Or you can only afford to spend £100, limit it to £30 every time you go out and stick to that. Again, this comes down to discipline.
Exactly.
If you're not disciplined, you can't save
exactly
at all. It's not possible. In addition to that, I'll give you another tip. Crypto. Keep some of your money in crypto wallet. Not just Bitcoin. I'll drop another gem here. There's something called Algorand. Algorand. It's one that's been going up. It's still quite low. People can still kind of like invest in that. I would really suggest for people to put some of their money that they want to put aside into coin wallets, and I'll tell you why. Because you start very easily and very quickly seeing your money go up, even if it's a little bit. Sometimes even if it's £5, you're excited if you put in a couple of pence, just theoretically speaking.
Yeah.
Seeing your money goes up gives you a thrill. I know I open my coin wallet every single day. I got Bitcoin when it was around 3,000. Now Bitcoin is £42,000 today. So that's just one of them. But I don't say go and buy a Bitcoin while it's really high. But there are alternative coins that you can get. Like I mentioned, Algorand is one to look out for. But do a little bit of research. But I'll say put some money in coins. That's a good way of saving, without looking at it. There's also government bonds as well. That's an interesting one, which I use, and I'm not going to lie, you really forget about money in there. So put money there every month if you can. There's no trick to getting you to putting a certain amount of money away. So if that's what you were trying to get at, There's no way I can stop you from spending your money. The only thing I can do is tell you how you can keep your money in ways that you can't touch it, but also ways where it's giving you some value. So the one I mentioned, crypto, is very likely to go up, and you can cash out your money whenever you want. The other one, which is government bonds, if you invest in the government bond, how it works is every pound you invest gives you a number. It's almost like a lottery. So that money you have is always there. It doesn't change. But what happens is every month somebody wins. The more numbers you have, so if you have like £1,000, you have 1,000 chances of winning every month in your kind of like area, right? And somebody wins. Sometimes it's 10,000, it's 50,000, it's 100,000. Every month there's a winner. But the good thing is your money can never depreciate, it can never go down, right? So it's a good way of saving your money with the opportunity of being able to also win quite a bit of money as well.
Okay, so, and what's that called again? That's the
government bond.
Government bond. Okay, I mean,
yeah.
Myke, I must say you've given us such an amazing insight into your success, your ability to run multiple businesses, your discipline, and your success as well. How discipline is important to achieve that success as well, and also tips on how to save money. I think it's been amazing, to have you on the show this evening. I mean, I was like, I want to keep you here till tomorrow. Like we just carry on talking, but I know I can't do that. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, you did mention that, you want people to get in touch with you as well, if they ever need any kind of help, because you do have a consultancy to help them resolve any solutions or any issues, or give them solutions to any issues they might have. So, I mean, do you want to share details of that, or how they can get in touch with you again before we say goodnight to you this evening?
Yeah, sure. So I'm approachable. I'm reachable on pretty much all my platforms. YouTube, it's Myke to Success. I have a look at comments. If you have any questions on any of the videos, let me know. On Instagram, it's Myke, mykey.co.uk. That's my personal one. On there, you would see my Myke to Success. I've got a couple of them linked in my bios, so you can have a look at some of those as well there. But drop me a DM, and I'll definitely be coming back to you guys if you have any particular questions. One thing I do want to say as a form of advice is I meet a lot of people every day who say they want to do X, Y, Z, but don't have the discipline or willing to put in the work. So the reality is I am open to speak to anybody and happy to help people, but genuinely it has to be the fact that you are as passionate as helping yourself and trying to take that next step of your life. Because when I speak to a lot of people, I give them some bits. I always give them bits to go away and go and do, and it's impressive the people that do it and those who don't come back again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a differentiator, so if you're really definitely like passionate, you're willing to use the time that you have to change your current situation, then I can definitely help, especially around the online space where you don't have to invest so much to get started. So yeah, no, absolutely.
Amazing.
I'd love to hear from people, and obviously do mention that you've come through from here, just so I'll make sure I give it a little bit more attention.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Myke. It's been amazing to have you on the show, and thank you to all my listeners out there as well. Myke, I can't wait to have you back, and also we'll be watching you, because you say there's much more coming up your sleeve, but you're keeping it to your chest. But I'm sure it's going to be amazing as well. I wish
Absolutely.
You're welcome.
Just before I go, I was going to say the bonds I was talking about, by the way, specifically done by National Savings and Investment, so it's NSNI.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to have a look, they have a website. It's NSNI, National Savings and Investment. So have a look at that. And like I said, ask me if you have got any questions. I've really enjoyed obviously having a chat with you. I mean,
it's been amazing. It's been amazing as well, and I'm sure we'll be catching up quite soon as well. So I wish you all the best, and I can't wait to have you back on the show at some point. Maybe when you start having those great business ventures coming into play as well, because we don't know what it is, but we're excited because it's Myke. Myke is going to do it. It's been amazing, Myke. Have a fantastic weekend, and again, thank you again for coming on the show. It's been amazing.
Thank you so much. All the best now.